Well, I'm back from my trip to Tennessee and South Carolina, so I'm gonna try to get right back on the Belvedere. As you can see, I started taking a couple of things apart. I took the hood off, and it's there. It's not gonna get used. We're gonna use a different one, but we're gonna get that out of the way because you can't really work in the engine compartment too well when that's in the way. So, what I'm gonna work on within the next short while here is, as you can see, I already pulled off that little front support that goes across. I pulled that off, and I pulled the battery tray off, and obviously the hood, as I mentioned, and I wanted to strip the engine compartment of all wiring and accessories so we can get that stuff out of the way so we can start stripping the engine bay because obviously the body of the car is very, very important, but the as soon as the engine bay is done and I go and I kind of coat the underneath of the car with the chassis paint that I have, as well as actually do the white paint in the engine bay itself. Then we can start looking towards engine and transmission related things while we are doing paint and body work and minimal rust repair on the rest of the car. And speaking of rust repair, well, I found some more. Pulled the battery tray. Um, It looked really nice overall, but then I was looking a little bit deeper. It almost looks like it was cut on the end. I'm not sure. I'd have to look into that. And then I started seeing around the bolts and around this edge, there's some pinholes and some rust. So I kind of figured there might be a little bit under there, but that's a little bit more extensive than I hoped for. Um, but we should be able to get that patched up relatively quickly. Relatively quickly. So, gonna have to just kind of strip around the area, see what's solid and how far the rust really goes. I don't want to get into this because if I get into this, then that's kind of a hard shape to work with. But if I can work with this flat, nice area here, that would be good. And if I have to curve over like in this spot, that's fine. Um, oh, wow, there's actually a razor blade right there. Almost cut myself on that. Don't do that. But we'll have to look at what's really all bad here because I only want to replace what I have to, and the less work we can do, the better. But we still want to do a decent quality of work. But anyways, I'm gonna continue stripping the engine bay, get the, like, there's some wiring and cables, and up here there's like even some headlight wiring and all that stuff. And I might try to pull that front kind of gravel splash pan there, and then this front support, and then we're gonna move on to actually pulling the accessories off the firewall as well. So I'm gonna try to bring you guys along for some of that, but I'm gonna set the camera down for now, get back on this, and I'll see you guys in a minute. Got a couple more things done on the Belvedere. As I showed you, I already got that little front piece that goes across here that was already off. I got the filler piece that goes kind of underneath where the bumper goes and underneath the grill. I got that off. That was not too challenging. And the only little kind of piece of advice I guess I would share is you have kind of two options when you're doing this, and you either have to do one of the two, the way I look at it at least. Bolts, I put them back where they go, or I put them in a bag and put them where I know where they are, or I'll get those Ziploc bags with the little spot where it has like a label on it, or you can get just normal bags and write with a Sharpie or whatever, and you can write on it bumper filler bolts or whatever happens to be the case, or fender bolts or whatever, hood bolts, trunk bolts, whatever you are working on. So that's kind of the only tip or piece of advice I can give you, because I've taken some stuff apart where, I'm trying to put something back together a few weeks later, a month later, or whatever, and where are the bolts? So that's kind of a little bit of a problem sometimes for a lot of people, myself included. So took the hood hinges off, looked behind there, and that's all good. Those are really, really common spots for these to rust out, is near and behind the hood hinges. Got those sitting up on the roof. And then Took the little wiper squirter things off and a couple of little things like that. Took the whole wiring harness out. That's here. It's in pretty good condition. The only thing I'm probably going to end up reusing is the headlight harness because as far as like the engine harness and everything, it was for a 318 and I'm going to a 440, and that was set up for points when I'm going to electronic ignition. So that's of almost no use to me, but we'll probably set it off to the side for another project one day or whatever the case may be. I got this fender mostly off. I got the bolts all loose. I'm going to take that off either a little later tonight or tomorrow. So we'll have to take a look at that, see what the inside of the fender and see what kind of the inner wheel well behind the inner fenders and apron area is like. So, and I took the fender tag off. You always want to just get that out of the way, especially on these cars. This area is really nice and flat, so you can sand that out and make it pretty nice and smooth when you're prepping. So want to get that out of the way. You could leave it and paint over it, but it's better if you just get it out of the way and make sure the whole area is smooth. So got that put away in a drawer. Not that it really matters that much for this car in particular. It was just a white with kind of a greenish green and tan interior, and it was just a 318 automatic bench seat column shift car. It doesn't matter, for our purposes at least, it doesn't matter what this car was. It matters more what it's going to be. This car was purchased because it was a 66 Belvedere 2 and it was white and it wasn't really rusty. Generally speaking, it does have rust. We're going to need to do a rust repair, and you're going to see that in probably less than a week. I'll be doing some rust repair. Took some actually I used 120 grit on this. It was just what I had on my palm sander, and cleaned this up really nice. This whole cowl area is mostly just a little bit of surface rust, and you see a little bit of that kind of white paint, or it may be primer. I'm not sure. Not sure what was done to this car at different points in time, but you can see I just did a couple little test spots, seeing how it kind of comes off and how it will come out. Did a little test spot on the purple paint here. That turned out okay. You know, I wish it would come off a little bit easier, but we all kind of wish that. So, and then by all means, if anybody has any recommendations or advice on things that they've done to get paint off quickly, that's always appreciated. I don't have the ability to do blasting right now. I mean, I personally have the dustless blasting equipment and everything, and that would do this whole engine bay in an hour and a half. But it's too cold outside because it's a water mixed with glass blastings, so it's too cold outside to do that, and I'm not going to wait. I'm not going to wait a month plus with this like it is just to be able to blast something. So if anybody has recommendations on different things that could be used, I don't really want to use a chemical stripper. They could be very toxic and messy, and I just don't really want to deal with that. But anything you guys have done in the past, that's always appreciated to get any sort of advice. Was starting to cut the seal on the windshield. Yes, I did cut the seal. I'm not going to save the seal. It's junk. It's 55-year-old rubber, so it's junk. So I'm going to cut that, pop the windshield out. Obviously, the windshield's junk. And going to be able to clean up the windshield channel, and then I'm going to be able to better get the dash out. Once I get the dash out, I can drop the steering column and then get all that cleaned out, drop the wiper linkage, be able to get the wiper motor off, and yada, yada, yada. It's a snowball effect. So all that's going to be coming off, and then things are going to get cleaned up, primed, painted, clear coat, and everything from there. So another little question I have for people who have done this particular thing before. I have not. What do I do about this situation? This, I don't know what you would call it, this kind of filler seal for the drip rail. Mine's obviously very bad, and it's going to be all painted roof. It's not going to be like a vinyl top where the vinyl kind of tucks into the trim and none of that is visible. So that's going to be visible. I need to probably just dig that all out and then replace it. I was going to take the drip rail moldings off anyways, so I could get that all cleaned up the right way. And then another thing I did, I took the trunk lid off. I'm going to put that on the parts car probably tomorrow. I'll probably grab the one off of the parts car, obviously, and then probably bring that in here. Probably get to work on stripping that down. That's a really nice, really clean piece. I'm really happy to have that. And then gonna have to go through, clean out the trunk. I want to clean out the interior. And I know in a previous video some of you said you might want to see that, so I'll try to see if I could set up a tripod and record some of that so you guys can see that. And go through here, probably identify and tag some different like trim or different parts like that. And then probably get the shop vac out, clean this out, clean the interior out, and start assessing any potential rust in the trunk. I don't believe there is any, but if there's some pinholes, we need to address what to do about that. If we can get away with some kind of a skim coat situation, or if we need to go ahead and cut a small piece out and do a patch. So I don't know for sure. I don't know about that. I need to clean out the trunk gutters. They look good. I don't have any question about the condition of them. They just got some junk in them. And then probably late next week, going to be tackling this quarter panel. I want to get the welding portion of it done as soon as possible, because I want to get this car stripped as soon as possible and into the bodywork phase. I know a lot of people don't like bodywork. I really enjoy it. I like doing it. I enjoy painting as well, so the two kind of go hand in hand in some areas. But there's a lot of things we're going to have to go over and kind of come up with some decisions, like the interior. I think I'm going to go with black. I got a new steering wheel when I was out on a parts run for this car. It's a 1966, 1967 B body, and I think it's A body also. I'd have to double check. But it's that year, same year as this. It's the wood grain steering wheel. But it has a Dodge button in the middle of it it's like a padded button with a little like kind of clear resin with a kind of a floating Dodge symbol in it. I don't need the Dodge one. I need the Plymouth one. So if anybody has a Plymouth one around, let me know. I can put my email in the description of the video. If you have something like that, let me know. Or if you're interested in the Dodge one, or if you want to trade, definitely let me know, because that's something I'm going to be looking for, as well as a couple other things I'll let you guys know as we discover different things we need. Another thing is headliner. I'm going to tear that out. I'm going to clean the whole interior out. The headliner, in regards to that, everybody's really behind on upholstery related things, and I myself have not put in a headliner before, so I could attempt it. But what I may do for now, and obviously this would not be permanent, but what I'm probably going to do for now, considering I'm leaning towards black interior on this car, is I'm going to get that out, clean the inside of the roof, and paint it black. And I was going to paint it anyways, but if I paint it black, then you kind of almost forget that it's there, and then you can kind of continue on from there. And if anybody has recommendations for just different little parts or places that I can get little things like new, I'm gonna need all new window seals and window felts pretty much. This car's now it's 2022. This car's 56 years old, and all that stuff is original on the car still, and it's all cracked and broken and brittle. So we're gonna have to just work with what we have. as far as getting to that point. But like this window seal, that's actually still good and soft and everything. But if you look inside, these are all like rock hard. They're not good for much. And then these as well are, I mean, that's coming off. That's junk. But yeah, and then we'll take this door off. This door is going to go on the parts car, and the door from the parts car is going to end up here. So we'll do that. I won't put the doors back on right away. I've got kind of like a bodywork stand. We can at least get it all stripped down and roughed in, at least mostly roughed in before we put it back on the car. And we're going to have to do just a lot of little things, a lot of little brackets and little, the hood hinges and like this piece. And there's going to be a lot of little hand sanding things. And in addition to that, if I can get my my blaster working, I can do a lot of that stuff a lot quicker. I think I just need a new foot pedal. It's just not really working right. So I'll have to dig into that when I get some time. But yeah, I'm going to be kind of tackling this a little bit every day. I want to bring you guys along with and get videos out and keep growing the channel, get more likes and subscribers and all that stuff. And we'll just keep on going and get this thing ready as soon as possible for Midwest Mopars in the Park, which is June 3rd, 4th, 5th, I believe. Don't quote me on that. I believe that's right, though. And No Name Nationals, which is the drag race event in Sikeston, Missouri for all 500 plus subscriber YouTube related channels. So definitely look that up and look into that. That's September 30th and October 1st. So anyways, I think I've rambled on enough, but that's pretty much it, and I'll see you guys in the next one.